All right, thanks, Ballant. Time now is 11:16 here on your Thursday morning. It's also time for In the Know, and a special edition at that. On the morning of April 15, 1912, the Titanic sank into the icy waters of the North Atlantic. And since then, it sparked intrigue for its story and those of the people on board. Now, more than a century later, Titanic the Exhibition is opening its doors as the largest and most immersive touring exhibition on this highlight of history. And joining us today to talk about what you can expect from this deep dive is creative producer Mark Locke. Mark, good morning. Thank you for being here today.
Good morning, John. Great to be here.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so excited to talk about all this. First of all, you came all the way down from Chicago, so thank you for being here today.
Pleasure. I was telling you earlier, it's good to be back in Peoria. We did the Titanic exhibit on a smaller scale years ago here, and now, as you mentioned, we have the largest exhibition ever in Skokie.
And let's touch on that a little bit, because there is a lot to cover with this exhibition. When people walk in, what can they expect?
Well, you know, there was a great deal of excitement when Titanic sailed, right? The largest moving object ever made by the hands of man. The rich and famous were on board. The immigrants coming to the United States with their hopes and dreams. Well, the exhibition starts that way. Very exciting, very fun. You get a boarding pass with the name of an actual Titanic passenger on your boarding pass. People kind of take that and almost take it like a souvenir, but they really start to connect to that passenger as they make their way through this very theatrical exhibit. 350 artifacts, we've got one with us today, and room recreations, the grand staircase, a first-class cabin. You'll go down into the boiler room. You'll come face-to-face with the iceberg. A very immersive exhibition, a fun exhibition, but also a very emotional experience.
This is very different than just any other museum exhibit.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, immersive, absolutely, but it's teaching you in a way that you really can't just get by walking through and looking at just
artifacts. You know, it's a story we all know. James Cameron's film brought us to that in a theatrical way, Jack and Rose, but it's a story that just endures. We are fascinated by this story, I think, for two reasons. It's a piece of history that was so tragic, but also it points to us today how fragile life can be. Remember, everybody that got on that ship had every expectation of arriving safely in New York, and for so many that wasn't the case.
You mentioned a piece. We have a piece of something right here. What is this we're looking at?
Well, speaking of James Cameron's film, Jack and Rose, we all know the grand staircase.
Of course.
We talk about that later, but I had the opportunity to go down to the ocean floor, see the wreck of the Titanic firsthand.
Unbelievable.
Artifacts are there, but also some of the objects floated to the surface right when the Titanic sank. The White Star Line sent out a number of ships to recover bodies days after Titanic sank, but there were also pieces of the ship, debris. This is a piece of the grand staircase that the carpenter aboard the Minia, a cable-laying ship, he found this larger piece. He decided to take it, make it into a picture frame as a tribute to those who were lost on Titanic.
Oh, wow.
So it was given to the exhibition. So not from the ocean floor, in pristine condition. And one of the pieces we brought today, you can, you've got your gloves on.
I wanted to make sure I don't get any foreign objects or anything on here.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick it up very gently.
You got it.
It's very, very light. And of course, I joked around, Mark. I did move my mug intentionally just to make sure I didn't get anything on this. Yeah. Obviously, you also mentioned the film as well. And there will be some tie-ins with James Cameron's movie.
Oh, yeah. We have a gallery dedicated to the film. You can't tell the story of Titanic without telling the story of Hollywood. A Night to Remember was done years before. James Cameron's film brought to life this story to a new generation. And, you know, you can't talk to almost anyone and say, hey, have you seen the movie Titanic? Of course I've seen the movie Titanic.
Of course.
So, yeah, there's a Hollywood gallery as well.
Absolutely. I know this is up in Chicago. This is something that people are not going to want to miss, though. Where can they get more information?
It's in Skokie, which is just north at the Old Orchard Mall, the old Bloomingdale's, which is an incredible space to do an exhibition. And go to thetitanicexhibition.com. We've just extended again through the end of the year. Originally, when I thought we'd talk today, it would just be a couple more weeks, but all the way through the holidays now.
Oh, fantastic.
So thetexhibition.com, and we're there for a while, and looking forward to seeing folks from Peoria to make the trip north.
Well, Mark, I'm going to put this piece of history back down right here, but you can go see ones just like this one if you head up north. And Mark has really curated something incredible here. You are not going to want to miss out on this opportunity. Mark, thank you so much. There's so much I wish we could talk about today. We just have a very short interview window, so we'd love to have you come back at some point.
Look forward to it. Pleasure to be with you.
Thank you so much. And of course, if you or someone you know would like to talk about amazing things like this on In the Know, you can go to 25newsnow.com/in the know, click on the tab, submit the form. We'll be back to talk about that poll question in just a bit.